The having clause applies to subgroups, just like the group by. In the group by, we've previously gone over, and it's in the playlist link below the like button. We have subgroups and our grouping right here. But the having clause is very similar to it. It's like a filter directly working on the subgroup, so it comes after. We retrieve the values of these functions for only those groups that satisfy certain conditions. So we have the having clause. It says specifying a selection condition on groups. So rather than individual tuples, which is like what I said, we have to use the group by and then having. We're going to look at this in an example, but we take a specific group and we use the having clause to specify a specific selection on the group. So not dealing with just the tuples. Then we have a where clause. Make sure the where clause is executed before the having clause, always. So that's important to note. We don't see the where in this example, but that's just something to be aware of. So for this example, we have for each department that has more than 2 employees, retrieve the department number and the number of employees in the department and their average salary. So we have our select and our from. We'll just write these as standard. And then let's read over it again. For each department. So if we have each department, we want to group by our department number. So we're also going to use our group by for each department because we're looking at every single department individually. It has more than 2 employees. So if it has more than 2 employees, it has more than 2 employees, meaning that we have to have a having. When we do our having, we have to have a count. So we're going to count the number of employees in this department, because when we do this, we have like the department, and inside of our department, we have the dependents, like the employees inside of here. Not dependents, but we have employees inside of here. And we want to see for each of those employees, we're going to increment this and see if it's greater than 2. If it is greater than 2, we are going to continue. Continuing, we retrieve the department number. This would be the department number, the number of employees in the department. That's going to be our count right here, and their average salary. So that would be this average salary right here. And that's how we would look at this example. So we could see something like this. We have more examples down here. This one is to retrieve the department name if the lowest employee salary of the department is greater than 50,000. So we want to list the department name and the lowest salary. So we have our select and our from. So this is our query. We want to retrieve the department name. So we're going to have dname, meaning in our from we're going to have department. If the lowest employee salary, well, this means we're going to have the employee. And to get the lowest salary, we'll just use an aggregate and we'll do min salary. So that's just something we've gone over previously. Now, all of this together is going to reveal something. We want to retrieve the department, so a specific department name. We want to retrieve the department name if the lowest employee salary of the department. So lowest employee salary of the department, that means we have to group by departments. So this means, of course, we need to link our department and employee by keys and foreign keys. So we'll do dno is equal to dnumber. We want to group by the department name because we're grouping by the department name when we retrieve the department name, department salary of the department. And then we have is greater than 50,000. So it's having greater than 50,000. So our minimum salary must be greater than 50,000 for the department name. And that's how we would look at this example. You really have to think about and look over it. Next, we have for each department that has more than 5 female employees, list the department number, number of female employees, and the average salary of female employees. So looking at this one by one for each department, that means for each department, we're going to be grouping by department number because it's for each. So we have our group by department number, our select and our from our standard, and we're going to fill them in a second. Has more than 5 female employees. Has means having, so that means our count should be greater than 5 for the employees. And we should have where our sex is equal to female because we want to count only the female employees. So we have our where, it's female, which department number they're in, and if it's greater than 5. And if all of this is true, we want to list the department number, so we have our dno, the number of female employees, so this is a count right here because this is already taken care of in our where, and the average salary of female employees, so average sal here. And this can all be found in our employee. We're getting all of this from a table that we've previously looked at, and these can be found in the playlist link below the like button or the notes. It's everywhere, but that is just how we would go about doing this example. Now we turn to a summary of our SQL queries. A query in SQL can consist of up to 6 clauses, but only the first 2 selected and from are mandatory. This is not entirely true also, because if we just want to print something, select itself may be used as a print. The clauses are specified in the following order, so if we want to use all of these, this is what we're going to have to use them by. We know our select, our from, our where. we've gone over our group by, our having, and then we can have an order by. And this is where we'd have an attributes list right here, where we could specify a specific order. So note, the order is important for how these work. And that's going to be it for having, a summary of our SQL queries. Next, we're going to be looking at specifying updates in SQL. We've gone over this previously, but now we're going to inject the knowledge that we know about our queries into some of the ones that we couldn't solve before.